I think, some of the meetings were awful. The first meeting in Sheffield was a disaster. We sat in a really nasty room. There was no one quite knew why they were there. It just felt wrong, and I maybe it's to do with the chemistry on the day. I don't know.
But I saw the most astonishing presentation of the seed bank. I was invited to facilitate the second session in Belfast of the group, and I found it very difficult because I was used to smaller scale interaction and very committed people who were very transparent and open about sharing ideas. And on that occasion, that was not the way it was.
Strategies too.
And I didn't understand why, because I don't work in academia, and I wasn't so sensitive to the fact that some people really don't want to share their ideas because they think other people might not respect them appropriately. I think that is our intention.
The idea is to kind of frame and suggest what it might be, and then to think about those on the blog and in the intervening weeks, and then January to really start to push. I suppose I was expecting there to be a sort of more tangible idea that came out of today. Because I'm used to working with Helen, more or less primarily, and when we get an idea, we go, okay, this is what we're going to do. But the ideas process here is slower, more contemplative, but that's fine.
Better than I expected. So the big risk in this is it could be just a big, intellectual hot air, and we had a lot of that. But two things have come out of it.
Maybe their lives don't depend on it. And Helen, I'm talking about livelihood, if you like. And in the past, Helen and I's lives have depended upon coming up with an idea, getting funding for an idea, and putting an idea out. Whereas here, there's actually space.
I think inevitably it takes a longer time. Perhaps it's just in the nature of talking with academics that they always have interesting perspectives and come at it from their own disciplinary backgrounds as well. And so there's a lot of learning from everybody concerned. And I think you've got to find some way of getting beyond that quite early on. I must say Tony is very good at that.
I really like the kind of the confessional on the blog water diary.
Bridget Jones.
It is Bridget Jones works.
It itself quite well to the blog.
You will interject with an interesting question and bring the discussion back, and I think that's what you do need. You need a kind of catalyst who's focused, who also knows about the science or the topic of the domain of knowledge you're talking about. Not just a facilitator, but actually somebody who knows about the domain.
It feels like that from the beginning, although some of us knew each other, that we spent quite a long time, but the right amount of time, learning to trust each other and kind of work out quite quietly what each other were good at.
In the 1600s, coffee shops were the place that ideas were generated.
They forwarded to their friends, and forwarded to their friends, and like this.
Well, that's how. The only thing I signed up.
The stock exchange and many of the very important landmarks that we have started as coffee shops.
Shouldn't you just kind of throw in the towel? The instinct is to just go, well, we lost that battle.
Mostly the problems with Jet were around like capitalist consumer lifestyle.
It's interesting that the kind of visual thing of wanting an English garden is kind of like wanting a new crop.
I know at conferences you get shitty coffee and not enough time to talk.
Creative communities to social innovation.
It's come to a point now where it's sort of can't.
So your morning is devoted to a coffee break.
This process today gives you more chance to be open and to share things and to be under pressure to deliver some thinking.
avoiding consuming less, we came down to really finding prosperity.
Mutualism. This word consumerism is all about sucking in.
So we started with the idea of the People's Research Council, but we didn't like the word people.
All research or council?
All research or council.
So today, for example, it feels like a sort of 40, 50, 60 of us. And we all want to remain in contact with each other, and very often at conferences that really isn't what you want to do. You might professionally want to remain in contact with people or be on someone's mailing list, but there's something about today that feels like it's been more about an authentic connection between people.
I found today productive, but I think again one day with a very diverse group is very demanding.
I think it's been a really good approach as well. Like it's been laid back and quite not too rigid.
It's slightly daunting, could be a little bit sort of depressing, but I think there are some really good ideas coming through, and just that collaboration side of things I think is very exciting.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit overwhelmed also at the end, almost at the end of this day, by the critical mass of creativity, of goodwill, of engagement, commitment,
Well, I think we designed it as a non-conference, and I think it really did do that for me.
The first meeting in Sheffield was a disaster, but you kind of needed to go through that in order to find out what you'd done wrong.